Why wouldn't you dedicate your...
Was it all just a dream?
This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song.
It was the night before the election, 2016. Everything seemed to be going as planned. Amateurs and experts alike had already called the election months ago.
There's not going to be a President Donald Trump. That's not going to happen.
Donald Trump is not going to be president of the United States.
Donald Trump will never be elected president of the United States.
He's not going to be president.
Is there a path to victory for Donald Trump at this point?
No.
You still think she has a 100% chance of winning the election?
I do.
I'm not sure the Republican Party is going to survive.
I would like to introduce to you the next president of the United States, Ms. Hillary Clinton.
Thank you all, and thanks to Jay-Z and Beyonce. And thanks to Chance the Rapper and J. Cole and Big Sean.
She had no idea who any of these rappers were, but it didn't matter.
This is my fight song.
The big day is finally here, and it's time to vote.
A giddy nation awoke that morning to the news in the New York Times that Trump had only a 15% chance of winning.
You know, growing up as a little girl, I never thought I could be president. It's becoming very real.
Congrats, Hillary, our first woman president.
Ooh, Hillary, all the way to the White House.
I waited over an hour to vote. I'm so happy.
In Rochester, New York, thousands put I voted stickers on the grave of suffragist Susan B. Anthony.
This is the most important election that I have ever voted in.
I got to vote for a woman for president. We finally made it.
This is my fight song. Take back my life song.
Once the polls closed, before the votes were even counted, the champagne corks were popping at Hillary's victory party in New York City.
This has a literal glass ceiling. A glass ceiling they're hoping to symbolically burst through tonight.
Let's be one nation, indivisible, with a kick-ass president.
Meanwhile, just 17 blocks away,
it's a decidedly small venue, perhaps the smallest one I've ever seen for an event like this.
things were looking bad for the other candidate. The crowd was glum.
GOP officials now fear that if Donald Trump loses by a landslide, he could take down their congressional majorities with him.
Fox News seemed relieved that they wouldn't have to support this man for the next 4 years.
I think Hillary's going to win. The betting odds on the presidential race are 3-1 in favor of Secretary Clinton.
Look at all these wins we're projecting for Hillary Clinton right now. She wins New Jersey with 14 electoral votes.
Mrs. Clinton is also performing strongly on the East Coast. Massachusetts, Maryland,
and Illinois with 20 electoral votes. Hillary Clinton projected the winner. No huge surprises thus far.
Then something strange began to happen.
Big news for the first time tonight, really big news in the presidential race. We can project that Donald Trump will win the state of Ohio.
Donald Trump will carry the state of North Carolina.
and that is huge for Donald Trump. This is exactly what he needed to do.
Donald Trump will carry the state of Florida, state of Wisconsin. He will win Wisconsin. Trump doing very well in Pennsylvania right now. There's a cliffhanger going on here. In Michigan, 56% of the vote is in. Look at how close it is. Right now, Donald Trump is ahead.
It's completely flipped now.
To make matters worse, Fox News was using my name.
Michael Moore, who knows white working class voters, has made movies about them, grew up in Michigan, had been saying all along to the Democrats, dismiss him at your own peril.
And he said, I'm warning you, I know the people who live in my state, and I know how they think, and I know what their concerns are.
Everybody should head home. You should get some sleep. We're not going to have anything more to say tonight.
This is a Fox News election alert. Donald Trump is the president of the United States.
On the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. We've got a very interesting situation that's happening in the world right now. We're kind of seeing sort of a revisit of this in this avalanche that we've all been a part of. We are changing things. We are altering the course. It has been our perseverance. It's been our pushing. It's been our not giving up that has gotten us to where we are right now today. Now, for any of you doubting where we're heading, well, poo-poo on you, frankly, because you know where we're heading. And I'm not saying trust the plan. I'm saying be part of the plan. Be part of the victory. Be part of what we are doing. And you will reap the rewards, I'm quite sure. A lot happening. Got a lot in the news going on. And, Trump was just killing it in his truth feed today. So we got a bunch of his stuff. But I do want to remind you guys, got a couple really good things going on. We'll get to those. But one in particular, the music show this Friday is going to be very, very good. I've got it 3 doors down. The lead singer passed away. It's very sad. And so I'm like, I got to listen to some more of this guy's songs. And I actually found a few of them that I'm like, these are pretty cool songs. I've heard these before. I like them. So I kind of was inspired by him. And I've got a bunch of similar music. I would say it's kind of like that 90s, like gin blossomy kind of, I don't know, it's in that genre, right? It's a lot of fun. You guys are going to enjoy it. So come hang out with us 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern on Friday if you want to be a part of the live show. If not, I highly recommend you check out the shows maybe when you're on the treadmill or something. I play a lot of great music. And I interject a little bit here and there. All of that said, we've got a lot to talk about. And this is kind of a powerful video, and it reminds us why we don't burn the flag here in the United States and why we shouldn't.
Before you go, we'll be better off by now. If I let my walls come down, maybe I guess we'll never know. You know.
God's greatest experiment, and certainly the greatest country on this planet. This is why we don't burn the American flag. Here's another example of what makes us amazing. This gentleman, Melania, tried to keep him from standing up because he's injured, but he sure as hell wasn't going to sit down when he meets his commander-in-chief.
It's the guts and it's the glory. 100 stripes, 100 stories. It's the Pledge of Allegiance on the 4th of July. It's them handwritten letters from home. It's them sleepless nights alone. It's his newborn baby.
The greatest president we've ever had on this planet. In fact, it goes way back. Trump's been talking about this forever. He's had these views forever. And he's been the same individual that he is today. And, as we'll find out, he's actually gotten along with almost all of these people until he decided to run for president.
last year criticizing U.S. foreign policy. What would you do differently, Donald?
I'd make our allies, forgetting about the enemies you can't talk to so easily, I'd make our allies pay their fair share. We're a debtor nation. Something's going to happen over the next number of years with this country, because you can't keep going on losing $200 billion, and yet we let Japan come in and dump everything right into our markets and everything. It's not free trade. If you ever go to Japan right now and try to sell something, forget about it, Open. Just forget about it. It's almost impossible. They don't have laws against it. They just make it impossible. They come over here, they sell their cars, their VCRs, they knock the hell out of our companies. And hey, I have tremendous respect for the Japanese people. I mean, you can respect somebody that's beating the hell out of you, but they are beating the hell out of this country. Kuwait, they live like kings. The poorest person in Kuwait, they live like kings. And yet they're not paying. We make it possible for them to sell their oil. Why aren't they paying us 25% of what they're making? It's a joke.
This sounds like political presidential talk to me, and I know people have talked to you about whether or not you want to run. Would you ever?
Probably not, but I do get tired of seeing the country ripped off.
Why would you not?
I just don't think I really have the inclination to do it. I love what I'm doing. I really like it.
Also, it doesn't pay as well.
No, it doesn't. But, you know, I just probably wouldn't do it, Oprah. I probably wouldn't, but I do get tired of seeing what's happening with this country. And if it got so bad, I would never want to rule it out totally, because I really am tired of seeing what's happening with this country, how we're really making other people live like kings, and we're not.
What do you think of this year's presidential race, the way it's shaping up?
Well, it's going to be very interesting. I think that probably George Bush has an advantage in terms of the election. I think that probably people would say that he's got like that little edge in terms of the incumbency, et cetera, et cetera. But I think Jesse Jackson's done himself very proud. I think Michael Dukakis has done one hell of a job. And George Bush has done a hell of a job. You know, they all went in there sort of as semi-underdogs, including George Bush, and they've all come out. I think people that are around all three of those candidates can be very proud of the jobs they've done.
You've said, though, that if you did run for president, you believe you'd win.
Well, I don't know. I think I'd win. I tell you what, I wouldn't go in to lose. I've never gone in to lose in my life. And if I did decide to do it, I think I'd be inclined. I would say that I would have a hell of a chance of winning, because I think people, I don't know how your audience feels, but I think people are tired of seeing the United States ripped off. And I can't promise you everything, but I can tell you one thing. This country would make one hell of a lot of money from those people that for 25 years have taken advantage. It wouldn't be the way it's been, believe me.
And that is where we are today, isn't it? It's exactly where we are today. Here's a few different things, little montages that will, and again, I don't know why I'm doing this crawling up Donald Trump's butt, but I think it's important, one, at the start of the show for anybody that might, be on the fence, but two, this dude's put it all on the line for us. The least we can do is put it back on the line as well for him and for the bigger picture, the country, obviously, for our families, for the world. I mean, to really be grandiose, but it's true. We are saving the world from evil. It's pretty incredible.
Black patriots fought and bled on the battlefields of the American Revolution, and they really did. When you read the history, what they gave up. They gave everything to smash the chains of slavery and preserve our nation, and they did it with incredible bravery. They helped win the Wild West, tamed the skies, and saved freedom in the Second World War. They're warriors. From the very beginning, black Americans have been a vital part of the American story, helping to make this the greatest nation in the history of the world. So true. Thank you. We thank you.
Yeah, and again, remember, he's a racist, bigot, and all the other names and stuff we call him. Here's a story you might not have known. I certainly didn't. Him and Mike Tyson have quite not just that, and this story might trip you out a little bit as well in an interesting way. And I'm going to kind of bring something to the surface that maybe some of you haven't heard, maybe some of you have after this. Hang on.
If there was one person Donald Trump stayed loyal to, it was Michael Jackson. The day after a casino opening, Michael found out that a child he supported had sadly passed away. Heartbroken, he wanted to go to the funeral. When Trump heard this, he dropped his busy schedule and used his private jet to take Michael there. From that day on, their friendship became very close. When Michael Jackson was falsely accused by countless people, Donald Trump stood up and said this.
I'm going to stick up for him because nobody else is, but I don't believe it.
Trump angrily criticized the mother who accused Michael of child molestation.
And she goes after him viciously and violently, and I saw a story and I read another story about some of the things she's done, and I don't believe it.
While many hoped for MJ to be jailed, Trump was the only one who defended him. We can't say who was behind the smear campaign against Michael, but Trump gave him best support.
I love Michael Jackson, so...
Michael was a great friend of ours, actually, and he lived in Trump Tower for a long period of time.
Trump has done a lot of things that many of us don't quite realize. Also, recently, Macaulay Culkin has come out, allegedly, I've heard this, I haven't seen it yet, but supposedly acknowledging that Trump, or actually Michael Jackson, I apologize, on numerous occasions saved children from ending up in Epstein Island by bringing them to Neverland, or whatever they called it, Never Ranch, or whatever the hell he called it. Macaulay Culkin was supposedly talking about this. So again, they slime him, and everything else. Macaulay Culkin's had a really tough kind of go, and I think it was because he didn't appreciate the treatment he received. You've got to be aware, he was very, very molested, or attempted anyways. Odds are he was molested, and probably didn't like it. A number of these people in Hollywood didn't like it. And they're typically the ones that end up like that one kid from Nickelodeon or whatever that's homeless and he trashed the hotel. There's another individual that was heavily molested. A lot of these people are ruined by it. Hannah Montana. Think about her. I mean, she seems and carries herself well, but she kind of went to the devil, and we know that. This is what happens. And a lot of times it creates split personalities and many crazy things, but needless to say, it is a pretty serious situation. This is what we're a part of, folks. Not just the greatest country in the world, greatest experiment in the world, but certainly God-loving. I'm not going to say fearing, because I don't fear God. I know you're supposed to, whatever. If that's a better choice for you, feel free. But God-loving people are here to try to change the world and remove the evil. This is the time for that fight. It's not a kinetic fight. It doesn't need to be, and it won't. It's a spiritual battle. It's an issue of your soul. It's an issue of how you are expressing your soul. And that is what you're pushing out to the world. That is what you're demonstrating. That is who you are being. And that is what's amazing about these days. So please understand and appreciate. Well, I had a whole bunch of crap here that I didn't need here. Look at this. Let's just kill this if I can. Nope, that didn't work well. Anyway, I have a kind of a trippy announcement. So we talked about the raffle that we're doing for, of course, my good friends Feel Great. I love this. I just love this product. Before I started recording, I went down and actually had one more of the Unimate. Oh man, one, it's just good energy, and two, it's like my stomach. I was feeling a little bit. I've been kind of stopped drinking a couple days ago, so I'll do it for like a week and then I'll go back. But I love to kind of lose the weight and then actually see my abs again. And it's just like, yeah, it's kind of cool. Feels good. So I'm in that process right now. And the second one was great because it just killed that little bit of appetite I had. And I was like, all right, it's easily going to make it to dinner. And that's where you do the balance. It fills up your stomach a little bit. And man, it is making a huge difference in my life. I'm feeling great, unquestionably. I'm actually just good energy. It's weird. You just put some pep in your step and life feels good. And it's such an easy way to do it. You literally drink a container, 8, 16 ounces. It depends. I sometimes go a little less because there's many of these things that I'm doing that mix in water. And it's like I end up like drinking like a gallon of water. I'm enjoying some of these products. There's a Bone Complex one I really like. Again, there is a link in my description for the general shopping that is tied to my channel. If you guys want to look at some of the other crazy stuff they've got, that's an easy way to get to it. All that said, the raffle did so well They're extending it one day. They called me literally right before I was going on. That's why I went down and had another Unimate. I'm like, oh my God, you guys are making this crazy. But they called me right before and they're like, look, Dan, dude, the numbers. I don't know if you saw them. And I'm like, yeah, I was kind of surprised. A bunch of people, right? That was about what I said, what happened. And they said, let's go ahead and carry it one more day. And so we're going to do it one more day. Now, just to remind people, and this is for people that have been on the fence, you want to go to otfspecial.com first off, otfspecial.com. Now, there's just a pack, and it's 3 boxes. I mean, it's just one pack, though, so it's 3 boxes. You get 2 of the Unimate, and you do 1 of the balance. And so you get those 3 boxes, and they have 30 packets in each, and you do that, 2 Unimates every day and 1 balance every day, so it works out for a month. So that's a pack. It's a month amount, right? So what they're going to do if you win the raffle, and every purchase you make, not every purchase, every new customer that gets on board, sorry for the guys that are already on board, it's just how it is, but for every new customer, you guys are already feeling great, so you don't need the extra help. But for every person that's on the fence that hasn't actually ordered any, maybe you've created an account, just haven't ordered, maybe you just haven't even been there, otfspecial.com. You want to check it out because what they're going to kick you down is 2 months worth of packs. It's another 6 boxes, basically, okay? So you're going to get 200 packs. It's like a $500 deal. They're also going to hook you up with the 1 mint chocolate brownie decaf Unimate. Literally supposed to taste like magic. I got to get one myself. I haven't tried it yet. And they've got the lemon decaf Unimate. I think I actually did order that, and I think I have it. I don't think I've tried it. Again, how much of this stuff can I drink in one day? I'm enjoying the regular regimen, but that's like $500 worth of stuff. And you're going to find out that you're going to feel incredible. This stuff is helping with the insulin resistance that many of us have. It's everybody that I'm getting a word from is losing weight, is enjoying the experience, and it's just like, oh my God, I'm so glad I found this. And one of the things that I'm stoked about is I'm hearing a lot of people just tell me how stoked they are that I brought this into your world. So I thank you guys for being in my world, first off, and it's the least I can do to try to give back to you the best I can, or at least try to find the right products that are going to help your life out. I want to share this. It's another testimonial of Dr. Hendricks. It's pretty good stuff. Check this out.
I am that doctor that everybody wants to say. I went to my doctor and they tried to give me medications. I was the one doing it. That's what I knew how to do. I knew how to actually write the prescriptions and end up needing prescriptions for the side effects and the drug interactions. That's what I knew. It wasn't until I woke up and I was like, wait a minute, there's got to be more than this. In a couple of years, I'm going to be 50. I don't want this life. I don't want to look like these people. I have a family history of type 2 diabetes. And so I actually got certified in lifestyle medicine. That's about going after the root causes of conditions. And I started going on social media, and that's how I got connected with Anne-Marie, who said, hey, have you heard about these products that can help you help your people like you're trying to tell them? Of course, I thought you were just trying to sell me something. But when I was able to use these products and get people to latch onto the lifestyle changes, I saw people's A1Cs come down much quicker than I was ever able to do for 20 years. So when you actually see these results, it became a no-brainer. I started using it. I was able to get off of my blood pressure medicine after 2 months. I was able to take my brother out the ICU with his uncontrolled type 2 diabetes and put him on these products and got his sugars down to where he didn't need his insulin, his Trulicity, his metformin. I have my 72-year-old mom who has MS, who's bouncing around playing pickleball, no longer with her leg dragging and wearing her high heels. I'm enjoying what these products are doing with me and my family.
You'll enjoy how you feel. Even if you get yourself to the weight you want to be, you'll most likely continue the Unimate path. It's delicious. And you might just, instead of getting balanced, try to figure out a way to get one of the decaf boxes instead, maybe once you get yourself to that place. But balance is what really kind of helps with the insulin resistance. Again, if you've got a reasonably balanced diet, you're not going to have those problems. One thing that's awesome about this is you just take the product and do normal, okay? You're not going to do anything different. But what you'll find is some of your cravings, some of your sugar-sweet cravings, a lot of the little weird things that tended to happen aren't happening the same way. And so you'll find yourself stepping back from certain things and be like, I didn't actually eat any candy today. How weird is that? You'll forget. And then you'll look at the scale and you'll be like, dang. Seriously, go to otfspecial.com, otfspecial.com. Every new order. So even if you're somebody that's doing a new order, but you're getting a 3-pack for you and a 3-pack for your husband, that's 2 entries to the raffle. I'm not choosing who wins. That's happening through Unicity, and they're going to send you the pack. So new customers, get in there, get yourself at least a pack, or get one for everybody. Buy it for everybody on the neighborhood. That's a bunch of entries, and you're going to guarantee $500. Now, it does seem weird to spend $20,000 just to get $500 worth of product, but it's your option if you want. Make a bunch of people feel great, and you'll feel incredible about it. Go to otfspecial.com, otfspecial.com, and let's make that special, healthy, feel great kind of choice. All right, Mr. Waltz is on his way out of the... if he survives... I mean, I don't know. I'd say a month. If he survives a month, if he's still in office by the end of February, I will be very surprised. Very surprised. Minnesota is an absolute mess. Here's an example of it.
Tourism, that might be new to you, but we're hearing a lot here. Things so bad for fraud in Minnesota and Minneapolis. People actually coming here from other states to defraud the city and the state. That's what happened with two men from Philadelphia. They came here to Minnesota, used AI to build a fake medical services company with fake clients. They billed the state out of millions of dollars before being caught. They made their first court appearance yesterday, not too talkative, on the way out from court. And we are seeing a much greater effort from local law enforcement to try and calm things down here, especially when it comes to these blockades people are setting up outside their neighborhood. They took apart at least 11 blockades over the weekend, and the city spokesperson said the following: blocked streets and makeshift checkpoints are serious concerns for police, fire, and emergency medical responders because it can delay response times and restrict access for their vehicles. People also getting fed up, calling the city saying, we want these blockades out of our neighborhoods. Bill, back to you.
All right, Steve. This is the thing that the Democrats are just dying with right now. And they know this, the internal polling, but they can't give up. They can't stop because they know ultimately what's happening. They are being destroyed, removed. They're just actually imploding, not really being destroyed. They're destroying themselves. The truth is setting us all free. This is very problematic for Tim Walz. This is the best way I can say it. Check this out.
Where the hell has the Twin Cities media been? The Star Tribune is complicit. They have had this story for years, if you just heard, and they've refused to report anything on it. In fact, they continue to try and cover up. Our Minnesota Republican colleagues have demanded answers and accountability for years, but have seen nothing from Walz, his administration, our Democrat colleagues like Tina Smith, Amy Klobuchar, Ilhan Omar, and Angie Craig, or the worthless Star Tribune. Thank God for President Donald J. Trump for finally bringing attention to this issue. Representative Rarick, I'm going to begin with you. You've been working on this issue for years. You've spoken to the whistleblowers personally. Is that correct?
That is correct.
You have an understanding that 1,000 whistleblowers running an account on X have come forward to expose fraud in Minnesota state agencies, and they have been entirely ignored by Tim Walz and have even been retaliated against. Is that accurate?
That is correct. Even this morning, I got another message.
Well, in your experience, are their claims credible or are they politically motivated against Walz?
They're completely credible, not politically motivated.
In fact, many of these are Walz administration employees, correct?
They are actually Democrats as well.
Can you quickly give us one example of the retaliation these folks have been facing?
Yes, I can. In my opening statement, I mentioned that the most severe ones was that they would be fired with cause, so they couldn't have unemployment insurance, that they would be blacklisted from all state agencies, and I bet that it's also Hennepin County and Ramsey County, as you know, those are Democrat-run, and much, much more.
Based on what you've learned, Representative, over the last several years, do you have any doubt that Governor Tim Walz knew about this fraud as it was occurring?
He absolutely knew that it was occurring.
Thank you. The Housing Stability Services Program was estimated to cost about $2.6 million per year, but before it was shut down last October, it was on track to run about $122 million in 2025. In fact, I think they sucked $161 million out of it from the point it started in 2020 until it was finally shut down. Isn't that correct?
That is correct, and Joe Thompson believes that 90% of that was fraud.
Yeah. The Quality Leering Center, as uncovered by Nick Shirley, received almost $10 million in funding. Is that accurate?
I believe it is.
There are more than 80 autism centers in Minnesota under investigation. Is that true?
I believe it is, yes.
It's clear that someone is criminally complicit. You can't just let this amount of money get out of your administration over a period of 7 years without knowing. There was a hearing in the state regarding the fraudulent housing stabilization program, but before that hearing, Governor Walz fired the official who was slated to testify so that they could not testify and expose what was happening under Governor Walz's watch. Has Governor Walz or Attorney General Ellison fired anyone else to your knowledge, Representative?
Not to my knowledge, and that was Eric Rumdahl, and his administration believes that he he was not fired, but I say he was fired because it was too convenient.
Right. Representative Hudson, is it true that 90% of the individuals charged, regardless of what your colleague on the panel just said with his facts and figures, 90% of the individuals charged or indicted with the $250 million Feeding Our Future COVID fraud are of Somali descent?
I believe that to be correct.
Are you aware that in a 2021 video, Mr. Ellison promised that he would obstruct his own agencies in their investigation of Somali fraud?
I am very much aware of that.
It's no wonder that criminals in the Somali community felt they were free to steal taxpayer dollars. I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Marion. Do you have any doubt that Tim Walz knew about this fraud as it was occurring?
None whatsoever.
Walz and Ellison were protecting fraudsters instead of investigating them, and it was purposeful. And it's no coincidence that this is occurring largely in the Somali community. Walz made a sanctuary state, Minnesota, a sanctuary state. He gave free health care, free college, and free licenses to illegals. And Walz looked the other way when Somali immigrants were stealing. Representative Robbins, do you have any doubt that Tim Walz knew about this fraud as it was occurring?
None whatsoever.
So all three of you have no doubt in your minds that Tim Walz knew about the $9 billion of fraud during his tenure as governor and did nothing about it. It looks like my time is about to expire, and I do want to say to all of you, on behalf of Minnesota, thank you for being here, and justice will be served.
I can't wait to see what that justice is. You know they've been getting money. You know they've been getting votes. You know they've been bringing in more Somalians who are getting them more federal dollars. This is racketeering as well. I mean, it seems to be anyways. That's about as criminal as it gets. So Walz, I don't know if he can make it through this. And the Democrats, well, they're going to have a really hard time because they're losing the argument with the votes. They're losing the argument with the getting illegals, especially criminal illegals, out of here. They're getting, I know it's redundant, but whatever. They're losing every argument. Transgenderism, they're losing that argument. Weapons, they're losing that argument. All of it. Tariffs, for that matter. It's going to destroy the economy. Nope. Economy's the best it's ever been. And it's just getting better. Here's some discussion about this poll watcher from, Philadelphia, I think. Yeah. And he's talking about what happened in the 2020 election. This ain't going away. We're not letting go of it. This is where we're starting. This is the starting ground. And we're going to fix everything post 2020 also.
My name is Brian McCaffrey. I'm a registered Democrat in the city of Philadelphia. Today, I'm at the Philadelphia Convention Center, and I am overseeing the ballot counters. I will let you know the corruption that is going on here. They will not allow us within 30 to 100 feet to supervise the ballots being counted. This is a coup against the President of the United States of America, and I want to call out the Mayor of Philadelphia, James Kenney, the Attorney General, Josh Shapiro, who tweeted that there's no way Donald Trump can win President of the United States of America, and also the District Attorney of Philadelphia, Larry Krasner. I can't believe what I'm seeing right before my eyes. This has nothing to do with Joe Biden or Donald Trump. This has to do with our democracy, and I will tell you, there is corruption at the highest level in the city of Philadelphia.
Highest levels of probably every city out there. In fact, there's a story, and I think I'll be sharing it, but understand, they're likely going to try to do another COVID situation. Trump knows that. Trump knows that. And it's not going to happen here because we've already shut down the things that are happening here. So it's going to come, probably a version of it will come from Canada. And then I think there'll likely be another version of it in Europe, and they'll try to fly people in, but I think we're gonna see when it starts, and we'll shut down traffic to all those countries, including Canada. This is well known, and I'm sure if they can get Canada to pull their heads out of their arses, and I don't mean the Canadian people, I mean the Canadian government, and then allow us to say, hey, can you shut down these facilities they've got inside? China's running inside your country right now because they are planning on using that to get you sick. The day's coming. Now, here's just some more election stuff. This is from Fulton County. Fulton County, Georgia FBI raid affidavit confirms a few crazy things. A lot of manipulated election stuff. Do we want to play 11? Oh, that's 11 seconds. Yeah. So there's only 16 tabulators out of an expected much larger number that were used to generate closing data for about 315,000 ballots across 138 provided poll tapes. This extreme concentration improperly funneled through a small set of machines, breaking chain of custody rules and making it easier to alter election results. They had huge number of these tabulators. They forced all the traffic through 16 of them. Why? Because they probably controlled all 16. Maybe not the other ones, because they didn't want anyone to know. But all the tabulating came through these machines only, not the others. So they never were involved. 2, a review of the machine logs indicated that memory cards were likely removed from their original tabulators and inserted into different ones to produce or recreate closing poll tapes. This indicated tampering or fabrication of records to cover up discrepancies, as it allows data to be manipulated outside the standard process. 3, many closing poll tapes, essential documents that verify end-of-day voting totals from each polling site, were entirely missing from the records provided. Without these, there's no way to confirm that votes weren't added, removed, or changed post-election. That's fraud, period. 4, it was discovered that the tabulator's data appeared to cover ballots from several different polling sites, which shouldn't happen under normal procedures. This suggests intentional mixing of data streams, which leads to duplicate votes, misplaced ballots, or hidden errors across precincts. 5, tabulators showed mismatched or anomalous timestamps in their logs, such as dates and times that didn't align with the actual election events. This could indicate backdating, editing, or unauthorized access after polls closed, further hinting at possible manipulation to make records appear consistent. And 6, auditors assisting in the risk-limiting audit reported counting purported absentee ballots that had never been creased or folded, as would be required for the ballot to be mailed to the voter and for the ballot to be returned in a sealed envelope, requiring the voter's signature for authentication. It's unquestionable that mail-in voting and machines are the problem. Panic is ensuing after Trump is now ordering the CIA to give election data to a particular lawyer. Now, this Kurt Olson guy, and of course the deep state's trying to smear him. It's Politico that put this, and ABC that put this out. And Trump is saying that they're handing over this secret CIA information about the elections, the intelligence agencies about the elections. Now, there's going to probably be some sort of weird lawsuit and or possibly a district judge that's going to try to keep Kurt Olson from seeing it for whatever reasons. But Trump can give whoever he wants that level of secrecy or security. And this guy's been very involved defending Trump during the Stop the Steal and all that process. So this dude's all in it. His reputation's been destroyed by Politico, NBC, and all these other crazies, right? So we've got a very serious situation where we are about, because of Tulsi Gabbard and DNI, we are now going to get the records from the CIA and all this other stuff. Something scorecard or whatever, they got the software originally and where that's all gone. They're going to get a lot of information, and we're going to see what happened. And we're also going to know exactly who was involved in 2020, what they were doing, who they were using inside our country to help, who was being paid. CIA is going to know all of that, all of it. And if Gabbard guarantees, and if Ratcliffe guarantees, and I'm sure Ratcliffe's already got his hands on this stuff. I'm sure that happened a while ago. I think it was a big part of why we went into Venezuela, to confirm and to actually pull some stuff out. Here we are. So again, we're in the midst of the most amazing point in history. Is there going to be some bumpies? Probably, because the deep state's not going to go down without swinging. But, just because someone throws a punch at you doesn't mean you can't get out of the way, you can't duck. I mean, you've got options. We don't have to get hit by them. This is one thing that I think a lot of people, they're like, well, we have to have this come to Jesus moment. No, we have to prove to everybody that massive amounts of fraud have happened. We don't need a come to Jesus moment per se. We need to take control of this world, this country. We need to stop killing each other. We need to just start behaving that way. We don't have to go through some sort of fire in order to reach that realization. Maybe we do. I don't know if that's necessary anymore. I think we are making a huge difference. So, yes, a lot of information is coming out. Missing boxes, the whole 9 yards. Again, the raid, Kurt Olson's going to be looking at all that information. They're trying to get it back, but I don't think they've given it back yet. I don't think they're going to. If it hasn't been stayed already, it likely will become so. So the other thing that's also interesting is, of course, January 6th. They took down Trump's Twitter account like 5 minutes after he posted the go home message. The one, that they said he never told his people to go home. The one that the Democrats claimed, the J6 committee claimed. Trump led the insurrection because they took away the peacefully and the peacefully part, the protest part. They cut that out. And then they take down his post saying, go home. You guys remember this?
We have to have law and order. We have to respect our great people in law and order. We don't want anybody hurt. It's a very tough period of time. There's never been a time like this where such a thing happened, where they could take it away from all of us, from me, from you, from our country. This was a fraudulent election, but we can't play into the hands of these people. We have to have peace. So go home. We love you. You're very special. You've seen what happens. You see the way others are treated that are so bad and so evil. I know how you feel. But go home and go home in peace.
Reminds me of back then and then now and kind of how things have played out. But how many people were screaming, we have to insurrection, we have to go to the streets. And it's the same people today that are also the same ones that are either bashing on Trump or bashing on Kirk, TPUSA and all that, right? They are Charlie Kirk. I don't know, I was forgetting his first name. I bet Kirk was his first name. I'm like, what's his last name? Anyway, all of this craziness is happening. And they, of course, have been doing this to us. Here's an email from Jeffrey Epstein. Kind of funny. Jordan Sather made a good post, a good find on this one. But apparently there was an email where Epstein sent it to someone, GMax, whoever that might be. Turns out Lynn forgot to tell me about Toe Chidlilren Nix. So he spelled it funny. He spelled it weird, right? Chidlren. And then, oddly, like a month and 2 days later, so 32 days or something strange, Trump posts on Twitter at the time, got to do something about these missing Chidlilren grabbed by the perverts. Too many incidents. Fast trial, death penalty. Trump used the exact same misspelling from the email that was sent prior. Now, I wonder if Trump knew GMax and GMax forwarded it to him, and this is where he got the info. That makes sense. But yeah, Trump did it on purpose. Trump put this out too. Democrats find Donald Trump's name in the Epstein files. Man, it's the exact opposite of what they wanted. This was the biggest con job that I think Trump ever did. It even worked on most of us, which I thought was super cool too. Again, I don't know. I don't want to pat myself on the back. I just thought the Epstein stuff was kind of stupid. Still sort of do. Whether he's alive or dead, I don't care. But the truth coming out, yes, I do care very much about. The Epstein part of it, I think Ghislaine Maxwell's actually a lot more of a find than we realize. I think that's the other side of what we don't quite get. All said, here's that dude from CNN, the guy we like. He's like he's the Republican-y dude. Whatever. I don't know what his name is. I forget. It's whatever it is.
There are new details that sharply undercut years of media and Democrat speculation and assertions about Donald Trump. Newly released FBI interview records confirm that Trump personally contacted Florida police in 2006 during the original Jeffrey Epstein investigation, and not to shield Epstein, but to support law enforcement going after him. According to the former Palm Beach police chief, Trump called investigators and praised them for pursuing the case. He warned about Epstein abusing underage girls. Trump also flagged Ghislaine Maxwell as evil, and he urged the police in Florida to focus on her role in recruiting victims. This is all in the Epstein files. Trump was right. The entire narrative around him and Epstein was a hoax perpetrated by Democrats to deflect away from their own problems. The police chief told federal investigators that Trump was the only prominent figure who proactively reached out to assist their investigation at a time when Epstein was surrounded by powerful friends and enablers. The FBI records also reinforce longstanding reports that Epstein was barred from Mar-a-Lago after inappropriate conduct there. And there is more. Additional documents show Democratic Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett communicated with Epstein using a fake name, presumably to shield herself from scrutiny. Reports indicate Plaskett used a pseudonym while exchanging messages with Epstein in connection with official matters, raising new questions as more names surface in the expanding Epstein document release. We'll have more to come as the Epstein files continue to be reviewed, but it seems to me there's vindication here for Trump and more trouble for Democrats than the media has ever wanted you to know. It's Scott Jennings.
It'd be more trouble for the media, too, because they've been posting a lot of the stuff that suggests that Trump's intentionally hiding things. Not to mention the myriad number of people on our side of the fence that continue to do much the same. Nicole Arbor says, I don't understand why the Epstein victims still won't name names. Elon Musk posted, most of the child victims were turned into traffickers themselves by Epstein after age 18. By making them commit crime with him, Epstein ensured their silence more than any NDA possibly could. They should be offered amnesties in order to testify. You see, this gets far more complex. And again, like he said, what's his face in CNN? Ghislaine Maxwell is likely the one we really want. Her dad was tied into the intelligence within London and Israel as well. So Epstein, she was likely his handler. It's quite possible they offed him. It is possible. He might still be alive. I don't know. But in the bigger picture, he doesn't have to be alive. He's not actually the important one. He's a good finance guy. And that was probably why Gillen approached him. You see? And she likely did when she was younger, when she was underage, and got him to do something he shouldn't have. You see, the story is probably nothing like what most of us assume. California refinery closure spells big trouble for this state. Yeah, we're basically screwed. If one of the refineries goes down, either because of weather or even maintenance, which has to happen, we're in a tough place. We had the two that have closed down. They created millions of gallons of fuels, both aviation fuel, diesel, as well as gasoline. And Trump's been worried too, because we have a lot of military bases here. And this he's basically saying it's becoming a security risk for the United States, what California is doing. And this is because of California passing stupid laws, this fossil fuel crap, of course. But there was a point where, here it is, in 2020, Newsom issued an executive order requiring all new passenger vehicles with zero emission by 2035. In 2022, the California Air Resource Board adopted new regulations to pave the way for the zero emission standards. Then they went even further and where's the thing where they talk about, here it is, this is what I wanted. California Governor Gavin Newsom signed Assembly Bill AB X2-1 on October 14th, 2024. That became effective on January 13th, 2025. The bill allows the California Energy Commission to regulate refiners by enforcing minimum inventory levels to prevent spikes in price, effectively capping their profit margins. So they're leaving because of this bill that our legislature put through, and that Gavin Newsom, wants to be president of the United States, how he's managed to ruin this state. Now, he would likely be better than Hillary Clinton to destroy the United States. Probably. I don't know. Either or, maybe 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. It's hard to say, right? But Gavin Newsom will definitely destroy this country. Now, he's not going to get an opportunity to do that, but that's the desire of the deep state. Fox News, Mike Tobin, he's reporting a fatal stabbing of Hallie Mary Tobler, the daughter of former GOP Minnesota gubernatorial candidate Jeff Johnson. The police believe her husband, Dylan Tobler, is responsible for killing her. Very, very sad. So again, like I got responses back from the people over at My Pillow, and thank goodness it wasn't actually a political hit. It was more of just a crazy family. But yeah, they looked into it too, which is fantastic. Thank God. But yeah, I assume I probably told Mike Lindell, and he's like, "Yeah, we heard about that, but that's blah blah blah." And so I hadn't seen the updated story, and I got that emailed to me by them. Actually, it was pretty cool. Trump talks about interest rates should be lower. He talks about what that benefit actually means and explains it well here. Check it out. And he was with Kudrow.
Interest rates should be lower. You know, every point is $600 billion. Think of that. $600 billion. All he has to do, if we went down 2 points, we don't have a deficit anymore. And that's without cutting. And it's just a paper charge. When you think about it, it's a paper charge. We should be the lowest interest rate in the world. The reason I bring up the Switzerland, because we should be lower than everybody. You know, Switzerland's like just about the lowest. If I charged them tariffs, they would not be doing very well. They would not be doing very well. I treated them very nicely, actually, but they would be, and many other countries would not be doing very well. So I'm being very judicious, to put it mildly, but this country should have the lowest interest rates in the world. We keep the world going.
Now think of all these countries that are going bankrupt, states in our own union going bankrupt, and how they're trying to steal wherever they can, right? They're trying to figure out crazy-ass taxes, like here in California, right? We're going to try to tax people that set foot here, that played football here for a couple days. We're going to tax the crap out of them. That's what these countries are doing. So when you look at Europe right now, they're just out of control, taxing away to try to keep the European Union afloat, especially without the war, because the war's going away. Now, it's funny with Switzerland, just kind of popped in my head, but Trump did put tariffs on him. He got pissed at the way the lady who went out as of December 31st, she apparently got in touch with Trump and said stuff and had an attitude, and I don't know, Trump just, he said it rubbed him the wrong way. So he raised the tariff on them to, I think, 39%. That's brutal for Switzerland. So as Switzerland goes broke, what options are Switzerland going to have but to get into the Swiss bank accounts, right? You've all heard of the Swiss bank accounts. So some of the richest, wealthiest people in the world have a lot of money. Of course, they have it in Cayman Islands and other places like that, but I think a lot of that's laundered money. I think the Swiss banks are kind of like the equivalent of the FDIC for the rich, right? Where are they going to get money from when they can't afford any of the stuff that they need to be able to do? In fact, it's weird. The Swiss Guard, I think, are the ones that actually protect the Vatican too, right? Which is odd. That's going to stop. Maybe the Vatican's going to have to pay, or maybe this is a way of cutting the Vatican's money off. Things are so much more crazy colorful than they seem, right? Eric Price was posting this. Senator Joni Ernst says IRS employees currently owe about $50 million in unpaid taxes. IRS employees owe $50 million in unpaid taxes. First off, since you guys work for the IRS, and no offense, I mean, I've known people that worked for the IRS as auditors, but still, nonetheless, you've done horrible things for a criminal company. So yeah, and we're going to make sure you pay your due as well. French wine, like the Bordeaux and all that stuff. Bordeaux, however you say it when you're flame French, right? Then when you're a weirdo, whatever. But yeah, their exports have sunk to the lowest levels in over 20 years because of tariffs. French are being dicks. If you're in my audience and you're French, I'm sorry, not trying to hate on you. You might be one of the non-douchey ones, though. You got a lot of things stacked against you, so it's hard to say. Trump economy revives as job numbers beat expectations. We'll see where this goes. What is kind of funny is this leads Trump, and they're up a lot, too, by the way, they're saying. I don't know if they get revised down. That's entirely possible, but I do think he's helped with the Bureau of Labor Statistics and gotten rid of some of the shitheads over there that were messing with the numbers in bad ways. One of them was a specific lady that way was over amping up the numbers for Biden for the end of his term, and then immediately reduced them down once Trump got in office, and just a lot of nonsense. But supposedly we added 130,000 jobs in January, which is pretty fantastic. And I think it was 111,000 was what was expected, so significantly over that. And for Yeah, in 2025 right now, yeah, we're looking up anyways, looking up in the big picture. Now, what is funny is that would normally be a very powerful thing. Stock markets would react well. Now, earlier they weren't. I haven't looked at them yet. I guess we can look at them now. What the hell? We'll take a gander. Looks like they've actually improved a little bit. They were down quite a bit this morning. Or you see at one point they were down quite a bit. They tried to spike them and then they went down. That was probably the jobs number that gave it a spike. And then it drops. Why? Why does it drop? Oh, this is futures I'm looking at. That's why. So silver and gold are up. That's good stuff. Anyway, get over. I got a special announcement for them too. Obviously it's coming up, but yeah, Dow is down a decent chunk today. Yeah, it was down a lot at first. There we go. Okay. So they tried to recover a little bit. But this is the thing. This is Trump's point, and this is why I kind of bring this up first. I was going to do it this order, but whatever. It is what it is. But yeah, check out Trump's thoughts on this.
But we're old enough to remember when the stock market, when there was good news, the market went up. And when there's bad news, the market went down. That's the way it should be. Goes up. Now, if there's good news, the market goes down because everyone said, oh, inflation. They have the yips. You know, golfers have the yips. They can't sink a 3-foot putt. When the word inflation, even the concept of it, well, growth doesn't mean inflation. And what it means is you can never really grow the country because as you do well, they keep trying to put you down. And so when good news is announced, I mean, sometimes great news is announced and the market literally crashes. Bad news is announced and the market goes up because of interest rates, because they say, and we have to go back to the old system. When we have good news, the market should go up. And we have bad news, the market should go down. And we'll take care of inflation as it comes. We can take care of it. I took care of it. I had the worst inflation in history with Biden, aside from borders and everything else that we had to take care of. But we had the worst inflation in history. And now, for the last 3 months, as you know, it was 1.3%.
Yeah, and again, the inflation is likely, well, is tied to a lot of the currencies that are treasuries that have been dropped by other countries. There's a lot of little finagling that's going on in that, but we are cool. We are well underway, and things are good. But I think most of us agree the Federal Reserve should probably not exist. All of that said, good news should generally lead to good results. GDP's up, employment's up. And then now, of course, everyone's worried. Like you said, inflation, but, you know, gold going up, $87 is, again, this just shows what's happening to the currency more than anything. Silver back up. Wow, it's funny. It's one of those things, too, where it drops and then it has to pop up and refresh. It's very funny. So it's up $4 today. It's up, almost 5%. So that's kind of what we expect. It's going to get back up over 100 here, not too long. They're trying to fight it, but it's and some have suspected. And I actually like this theory. And maybe we're doing some sort of weird transition that I can't think of or foresee because nothing is as it seems, right? So I'm kind of just I feel like I'm walking through a dark room most of the time, and just you bump into things. But what is interesting is they suggested that they allowed the silver prices to come way down, the paper contracts, to give banks a chance to fix their problem. So by bringing the prices way down, they were able to actually fulfill some contracts, I think, at that price, or even maybe shorts that they were doing and stuff like that. And hopefully the warning to them was, look, the price is going to go back up. Don't do stupid stuff anymore, and you'll be fine. Here's your one chance to fix it. So they crammed down silver somehow, and it's going back up. It's expected to. And again, gold's up again. Gold's the indicator of inflation. Now, I want to talk about this because this is pretty cool. My friends at Goldco, everyone's doing special deals right now. I love it. I don't know if they watch my show and they're like, someone else, Feel Great's doing a special. We should do a special. They're doing a killer special. First off, just a regular, because this is cash only. So we'll get that special in a second. It's cash only. The special is, if you've got a 401k or an IRA, I do highly recommend you use my good friends at Goldco. They are freaking awesome. And the best customer service ever. They're going to help you move that money tax-free, penalty-free. It's pre-tax money. You can't have it sent to you or you get raped. So move as much of it over tax-free, penalty-free, and then you're literally going to move it into physical metals IRA. It's a precious metals IRA. You're going to protect your buying power, and you're going to get as much of that money moved over into physical precious metals that are stored, and you can actually be paid in precious metals if you want to after you've accomplished moving some of this. You're going to get up to 10% free silver from these guys. Up to 10% free silver. Huge. And on top of that, you put in your 4 data points, hit the button. It's going to little pop-up. It's going to say, hey, if you can call this number within 20 minutes, we're going to give you this free Ronald Reagan coin. It's a half ounce. It's made in the Treasury. It's 0.99% pure, and it's got a picture of Ronald Reagan saluting on the front. Super duper cool. So all of that, protect your 401k or your IRA buying power. And we do believe we got a currency shift of some kind coming. How that happens, no freaking idea. DRSlikesgold.com. 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 Now let's talk about this freaking awesome deal. They've got a sweet deal for cash customers only. Okay, cash customer, and you're like, how can I get some precious metals easily and get some sweet freebies out of this? And here's how. You're going to get up to 10% in free gold or silver. So say you've got, I don't know, $20,000 of cash lying around. You want to kind of save as a physical metal. 10% of that, and up to 10% anyways, they say, yeah, get up to 10% of that in free gold or silver. Now, I think silver's the better deal, frankly, but gold is a great way to just keep buying power, and gold is pretty awesome. I gotta be honest, gold is pretty awesome. Silver is too, but gold's amazing. So that's not it. That's not it, though. You're also going to get free storage and a free safe. They're literally going to give you a free safe. It's a cool little safe in here. You're going to get that and free storage. Seriously. So you got some cash and you want to get some precious metals. We've got a bunch of suppliers over at Goldco. They're awesome. They've got this very sweet deal for you that you will be stoked about. And again, the free storage and free safe is super cool on top of everything else. Go to DRSlikesgold.com, DRSlikesgold.com. This is for a celebration of I almost forgot to say this, of July, our 250th year anniversary. This will only run through this month, the end of this month, 28th. This deal goes away. Cash customers are much easier to deal with than the 401k IRA, so this actual process can go very, very quickly. For any of you guys that have some cash, I don't know, there's probably a minimum amount. They're not going to just give you a safe if you got $100 and you're like, hey, I want to get $100 in gold, and they're going to be like, yeah, you're not getting the free safe. And I don't even know. I think there might be a $5,000 or $10,000 minimum. They'll unfortunately have to tell you that when you go to the site. But go to DRSlikesgold.com, DRSlikesgold.com, and we will make sure we can take care of you because you guys deserve it. That's for sure. And let's do this if I can get back. There we are. All right, DRSlikesgold.com. This is kind of crazy, and it's legit. And so I'm really into the spiritual stuff a lot. You guys know that. Our pineal gland is one of the most important things. It's kind of behind the third eye, but I actually think it has more to do with connecting to our violet ray, the upper parts. For any of you guys that have been watching my Law of One stuff, that'll mean more to you. But the pineal gland is super important. They've been intentionally effing with our pineal gland for years. In 2 minutes, you're about to learn more than you probably ever knew about how they've been poisoning us. Now, you've heard of some of these things, but the way they're being used together, that's kind of the scarier part.
Rudolf Steiner, the Austrian mystic, he predicted, that towards the end of last century and the beginning of this century, there will be a movement driven by big corporations to take the soul away from people, to disconnect people from the higher world. And in order to do that, we have to destroy the pineal gland in people. And I followed the research on that, and amazingly what we found, the pineal gland is the most sensitive part of our central nervous system and is highly, highly, highly sensitive to 4 things: aluminum, glyphosate, fluoride, and Wi-Fi. And we are the only country in the world that has pushed these 4 things in the last 60 years or so on everybody growing up here. There must have been an ultra-intelligence group of scientists who have designed this protocol to fluoridate the drinking water, to put nanonized aluminum in the air, to put glyphosate in the food, and then activate it, spark it with the right frequencies. It took me 20 years to figure out the perfect storm that is created there. And it's either a coincidence, which is possible, that enough dumb people made the wrong choices, along the years. I'm still hoping that maybe at least partially true. Also orchestrated by a very, very intelligent group of destructive minds. Politicians in the White House and other countries are conspiring with that. Can only be explained that their brains have come under the influence of some larger, higher field. There cannot be human in nature, because the human nature is always life affirmative and loving and wanting to live and make the biosphere more friendly to life and so.
So one thing that I find very interesting, and again, I'm just throwing crazy out there, guys. Don't take this any further than that. But they've been doing this for a very, very long time, and energies are important. Wi-Fi didn't come till much, much later, right? And so maybe that was how they were trying to kind of get the frequencies to the right place where they could kind of do it more locally. But imagine that they've likely been doing it from space for quite some time. And with Elon Musk, there's, I don't remember if you guys, there's some fun conspiracies around 3i Atlas and how Elon Musk was putting these Starlink satellites around the Earth. And what they were trying to do is what I think Swerdlow or whatever that guy was saying, that they're trying to block the communications from 3i Atlas. What if instead that they're actually trying to block the energy above that's coming down on us, meaning the frequencies from these satellites? Just a thought. These things are floating all over the place, and they've probably got the abilities to do some disruption to that process as well. This is maybe why China so desperately wants to get rid of Starlink. I don't think it's because it's blocking 3i Atlas, and I think Swerdlow is a disinfo. I think he's intentionally disinfo too, by the way. I don't think this is anything accidental with him. There's about 25% of what he says it feels like it's sort of true. The rest of it's just like, Dad, you're full of shit, dude. All said, whatever. If the guy is your best friend, that's totally cool, but I don't recommend him. FDA is reviewing this food alternative or additive. It's been in our food for almost forever, it seems like, since the 60s? Yeah, 61. It's called BHA or something totally crazy that you need a degree. There it is, a butylated hydroxyanisole. Whatever. Say that 10 times fast. All said, they're looking at whether it does in fact cause cancer. It's something that's supposed to help preserve fats and oils from spoiling. So, yeah, put poison in it, and at least it won't get bad. Okay. Now, here's one of the things where I don't know, my little idea of the how they were planning on doing the next COVID type thing in this country before the election. Oddly, Moderna says FDA refuses to review its application for experimental flu shot. When do flu shots typically start moving around? September? October? When are elections? First week of November? Well, apparently FDA has said, nah, we're not gonna review this. Thanks. Nope. And now, here's an opportunity that's, well, not gonna happen, in fact. Yeah, we've got, I think, some crazy stuff that they're being smart to stop, and we will experience that exactly. Weird story that came out. U.S. War Department downs a Mexican cartel drone over El Paso. They literally shut down the airspace for, at first, the NOTAM was for 10 days, which would have been horrific for flights coming in and out. They were freaking out because that would be like $40, $50 million in lost wages or lost income. But as it turns out, I don't know, I've heard conflicting stories that it was, in fact, a drone, and they shot it down with some sort of laser weapon. And I've also heard that it was a balloon. Whatever the case is, the thing got shot down. They ended up opening the airspace back up. So whatever the case was, something weird, likely, was happening. Canadian doctors want to euthanize infants. This is like if they're in pain or extreme pain, even infants. That's after birth abortion, isn't it? I don't know what's going on, Canada. You guys got some really, really messed up people. Speaking of which, they had a horrible shooting up there. 10 people dead, 25 injured after a mass school shooting in Tumbler Ridge, Canada. Police identified the shooter, but they're not releasing details. Well, it didn't take long for details to come out. The trans shooter, who carried out a number of worst school shootings in Canadian history at Tumbler Ridge Secondary School, killing 9, has been identified as 17-year-old Jesse Strang. who began transitioning at age 15 and who is also on heavy doses of SSRIs. I think we've got a problem with the SSRIs, don't we? This is creating a lot of killers, and they're very easy to instigate. Very easy to instigate, and that's probably baked into how SSRIs work. Colombia's anti-Trump leftist president claims he survived an assassination attempt on Monday. Yeah, that's kind of a crazy story. They literally had to fly his helicopter out off the coast for 4 hours because he was going to get attacked by drug kingpins or something. Anyway, they somehow protected him. It sounded like, from what they explained in his harrowing details, that it essentially was a pretty serious effort made to kill him. Like, they had backup plans and stuff like that, it sounds like. They had to do some evasive crap to keep him alive. Very interesting what is going on in our part of the world, isn't it? Zelensky's office quashes false rumors of national election for spring. He's like, no, I'm not having an election. You shitting me? So that's always good. Yeah, he's going to be out of a war come June, come hell or high water, essentially. And you're going to have to do an election, aren't you? So, yeah, maybe not in spring, but it's coming. A little bit of stuff with Iran. Netanyahu seeks U.S. muscular action on Iran, of course. Benjamin Netanyahu wants us to attack the shit out of him. Again, he doesn't trust Iran. Frankly, Iran doesn't trust Israel. I don't trust either of them at all. So, no, we're not going to start a world war for you, Bibi. Again, he's not in my good graces. He's probably the right guy for the job at the moment, but I don't think he's got to keep you guys safe, or Israel safe, for longer. But I don't think he's good for the long term, that's for sure. Hegseth makes clear Trump favors negotiate a deal with Iran. This is the reality of it. So Bibi's like, nuke him! And Trump's like, we don't want to do that. So, hello, you can go. He's been here 7 times. They shut down traffic, by the way, when Bibi got here. It's they tried to make a big damn deal about it. I think it's for his protection because there's so many people that hate him. So, yeah, they had to take some pretty serious precautions. This is like some of the discussed stuff about how Tehran can, truly attack. They've got all these crazy missiles, and they're going to hit all U.S. bases and stuff. They would get obliterated, though. I think we've got one Qatari base, and we've got a bunch of stuff there. I'm sure that's what a lot of what we've been flying over. There is a lot of anti-missile stuff, batteries that we are using to reinforce our important sites and the sites that have actually made good deals with us. If they haven't made a good deal, I got a funny feeling we're just moving our forces from there at the time being, So we'll see what happens. So he says it's all about the nuclear program. He didn't mention anything about the missiles, so maybe that's kind of where they're at the moment. This is just craziness here, but this gentleman is flying his plane, and it's a smaller plane. I'm going to show it. And literally, he took off, ran out of gas, or something happened, and was going to try to glide back to the airport, realized he was too far away to make it, and ended up having to land on a road, which you're going to see here in a second. And he makes this, it's your last moment. I mean, he lived, by the way. He didn't die, I don't think. And this is pretty impressive. But his last words were to his wife, which is, I think, gorgeous. Beautiful. Check this out.
Mayday, mayday, mayday. We're not going to make it. Please tell my wife, Molly, I love her, and my parents. I love them so much.
Dude thought he was going to die. I'm pretty sure he lived. I don't know if he walked away per se, but it doesn't look like he hit. I mean, his landing was hard as hell. And he had a lot of wires in here that he had to get in under. So, damn, dude, good job. That is sweet, is what that is. That dude, he might have been able to pull off the January 9/11 thing, right? He could have probably flown a plane into him. That dude's got some skills. Apparently, a man was detained for questioning in the Nancy Guthrie's disappearance. I can't tell if this is the same person because the stories are interesting and the way they're spinning a wee bit at this moment. So, man detained for questioning in the Guthrie disappearance. We'll talk about that a teeny bit from the actual dude. So, supposedly, this is the dude. I couldn't confirm. There's a couple different... Anyway, you'll see my problem here in a second. But anyway, let's start here.
The individual detained in the Guthrie case denies that he was involved in her disappearance. Here he is describing his questioning by police while speaking to Fox News.
What were they asking you about?
Like where my whereabouts.
Okay.
Where was I and all that, but.
Are you ever up in Tucson?
Yeah, I work in Tucson.
What do you do?
GLS, deliver packages.
Okay, do you think you might have delivered a package to Nancy Guthrie's house?
I don't know, might have been a possibility, I don't know.
Yeah, do you ever deliver like Amazon packages or anything?
Well, it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, so do you think you may have, did they indicate that you might have been on her property?
Nah.
You're not sure?
Nah, they just came up, they until right now, all I know is that they show my in-law a picture of somebody wearing a mask or something, and they supposedly look like my eyes.
Right, okay.
That's it. That's all I know.
The individual also saying that police had a warrant to search his home, adding that investigators took his cell phone.
So yeah, that's the part, the cell phone, which is interesting because if it's got any crypto stuff at all, he's screwed. Anyway, this woman says law enforcement in Rio Rico, Arizona, broke open her door, executing a search warrant related to Nancy Guthrie. She says her son-in-law, Carlos, is one who's been detained by police. Electronic devices have also been seized, so I'm pretty sure it's the same person. What is interesting is, I wonder if they were not answering the door for a particular reason. Were they afraid it was immigration? Or were they guilty, maybe? Kind of strange. Whatever. Police kick down the door. That's what happens. If you get, hey, police, open the door. I would get down to the door unless you don't care about the house. If you're renting, cool. Don't worry about it. Apple News promotes left-leaning media outlets as it shuts out conservative sites entirely. A study shows. This was on the New York Post where the study was done. So, again, any of you guys that use Apple News and think you're getting anything useful, hopefully if you've got your iPhones and you've got Apple News, you've realized very quickly that it's crap news. Whatever. I'm not surprised. So my accountant was asking me about that the other day. He's like, so what news sources do you guys trust? What do you go to? He's looking at his iPhone. He's like, yeah, I got the Apple News. I'm like, that's horrible. And he's like, yeah, that's pretty much what I realized. Yeah, it's horrible. Don't use it. It's ridiculous. What do you use? I told him, I go to the sites. I actually go to the news sites. He's like, oh, well, that sounds hard. Anyway, Kurt Cobain was apparently murdered, is what the new forensic evidence has shown. I kind of thought that was always sort of known. I mean, it was conspiracy, of course, but everyone says he committed suicide. But there was so much leading to that his wife was directly involved with his murder. Again, I'm not trying to be like TP USA here, but I forget what his wife's name was. But she's a pile of trash, man. She's a worthless woman, worthless human being. So yeah, Kurt Cobain, pretty awesome dude. I wasn't a huge fan. I was a fan. I mean, I like grunge. I was a bigger Pearl Jam fan than necessarily these guys. But Kurt Cobain was a very talented musician, and I love their music, especially in hindsight, especially afterwards. All that said, Nirvana's headman was likely killed. Sad stuff. Crazy world, folks. It's a crazy world. And we're a part of the biggest change that's probably ever happened on this planet. Should be pretty exciting. Well, we're on the other side of it. Let's put it that way. There's been two moments on this planet that are huge. There was one when our consciousness fell. And that was the fall of Atlantis. And we all fell. Suddenly our lives shortened significantly. A lot of things started happening in our incarnations. Then there's the period we're at now, which is where we rise back up to where we should be, to where we belong. And it took us a lot of years to get here. We are changing this world. We are changing how everybody views what's happening around us. It's a powerful time. I'm glad you guys are with me. I'm glad you're in my little world, my family. And I certainly appreciate you being there every step of the way and making the ripples that you do. I couldn't do it without you guys. I certainly wouldn't be doing anything without you guys. Just talking to myself, which I do a lot, by the way. Lots happening, guys. Be a part of it. Be a part of the change and be proud that you are. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.